What?
Excuse me? You say something?
What? I'm doing an intro. Hello? What?
Hello?
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Match Grade Podcast. If you probably were paying attention and figured it out, we're going to be doing something about ear protection this evening. Of course, every time it's always funny. We go to the range and we get people that put it on. They start talking louder, and then they take them off and they're talking normal. It's almost like somebody did a comedy sketch about that a long time ago when he was at the range. What? So we got a bunch of different ear protection, right? And I guess we'll start. Why don't we let's go nice and easy. Let's start with what is the easiest to find, the most affordable, and the cheapest.
Well, I guess that's going to be down here.
All right.
Okay, by default, here we go. This is probably your most affordable.
Yeah.
Probably easiest to find. Any hardware store. Heck, you can buy these at like the grocery store. They have them, in the pharmacy area. But your foamies, as we call them.
Loud in the produce
little foam, what? Little foam earplugs. So you might even have these if you travel, put them in, so you don't have to listen to people snoring and stuff like that. These are good. They work. And if you're only an occasional shooter, it's probably fine if you use these and only these, but they do have some definite disadvantages. I mean, one, they're disposable. They're basically single use. They don't work for everybody. You're supposed to kind of...
I get like 3 or 4 uses out.
You squeeze them a little bit and then stuff them in your ear. And I've seen people actually stuff them in a little too far and have a hard time getting them out. But they definitely do work. So they're an option. I keep some of these as backup in case I forget my ear pro, which I've done, or clients forget their ear pro, and they're just easy to keep in my range bag. The other great use, I think, for these for shooters is using these to double up their hearing protection. So wearing these in conjunction with your earmuffs, especially if you're on an indoor range, or I've done it when I'm shooting like really heavy caliber rifles that are super loud. So you get double protection by using the foamies plus your earmuffs over the top. Another thing I'm not a big fan about with these is we're learning more and more about bone conduction hearing, which is the vibration of the bones around your ear actually is part of your hearing. And the foamies don't do anything to protect that part of your hearing. And there may be some links been reading about to tinnitus from damage to those bones because they vibrate and you get that ringing sound. So just wearing these, if you're shooting a lot, it's better than not wearing anything for sure, but you might not be getting all the protection that you really need with just these. But definitely worth having 50 cents, 75 cents for these. Yeah. Definitely worth having some in your bag.
So all of our products have a noise reduction rating, kind of what they reduce the noise level by, like usually decibels. So Matt, what would you say those are kind of rated for?
I believe these are like 18.
Okay.
So not bad, but definitely lower than your muffs. So, yeah.
Only 18? When I use these, it feels like it does dampen things down pretty good.
Yeah, but
I'd say they're probably 20 to
could be
a little over 20.
Your mileage may vary depending on,
Well, it depends on how well you seal them into your ear.
How well they fit to you, I think is a lot of it,
I've seen people, they just take these and fold them in half and stuff them in there like they're just stuffing a hole in the wall to plaster it over.
It's not how they're meant to be.
No, you're supposed to roll these things up into like a very narrow needle almost, and you push them in there. What I do, when I do it, I push them in and I hold my ears closed a little bit and let them expand up against it.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing is people don't let them expand enough, and then they start shooting, and they aren't working fully.
I always joke about you push them in until they touch each other. That way you know they're far enough. Yeah, you can always take them out the middle. You guys are
all right. On that note,
so good start, good thing to have around. I've got a box of these at home because lawn mowing, doing all their stuff around the house, working on the house. I'll just grab another out of the box and throw them on. So they're good, handy to have.
Yep.
Cool.
Very cool.
So another product that you might have happenstance around the house, especially if you are an Apple user or have an iPhone, is a pair of AirPods. Okay, generation 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, these guys are not meant for shooting. Ask me how I know.
They're not good noise reduction.
They are not good noise reduction. Okay. Electronic ear protection and AirPods and things like that work in two different ways. You have, kind of noise canceling, like dialing down ambient noise so you can just focus on what's coming through here. And then you have active ear reduction, where anything above a certain decibel range will immediately get silenced. They actually compress the sound waves within milliseconds. These are not active dampening. Okay, these only have a 10, maybe 15 decibel reduction rating if you're lucky.
I think
they
it's
are
being generous.
They're not a good reduction, for use on the range, for not prolonged use. Even when I'm using these, when I'm mowing the lawn, they're not great. So again, if you have these around the house and think they're going to be adequate, for use on the range, you're going to be learned pretty quick. So we won't go into too much detail about these just because they're out there. You guys know where to get them and stuff, but we don't recommend it. Not even in a worst case scenario. Guys, just pay 50 cents and get 2,
You can
3,
get better protection.
4 of these.
But I can't listen to my music. They're not Bluetooth.
Well, so that's what I have seen people do is combine your AirPods with some sort of muff. So you can listen to music or your podcast while you're doing whatever, mowing the lawn. So that could work.
Not shooting.
But those on their own, not good.
I've seen people, they've got their AirPods on. You can hear the music.
Yeah.
And then they put the earmuffs on and then they're doing shooting. I'm sorry.
No.
Don't do that. You're distracting yourself.
Yeah.
From what you should be paying attention to.
Well, and we're going to get into it. Some of these muffs actually allow you to hear better until things get loud.
Until you don't need to.
And if you got the AirPods in, you're not hearing anything but what's coming over the AirPods.
Yeah.
So you're going to miss stuff that's going on that you might need to know.
So Dave, if we are actually stepping up, the tech, that we should recommend for the range from this, what would be the next step up?
Well, next step up would be full air coverage. I would get something, 3M makes these things. These are made by Condor. The good thing about these, they're cheap. Right? They're expensive, but they're probably around 10 to 12 bucks. All right. They've got really good NRR. I think these are actually rated for 29 to 30.
Nice.
But you look how big they are, right? There's a lot, there's a lot of foam in there.
Yeah.
But that's what you want when you're trying to reduce the sudden noise or the ambient noise that's really loud, like machinery and everything. Like some of this stuff, you can cross it over to any other loud environment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You go to one of the tractor pull things and you throw these on the kids and they won't damage their ears, right?
What the
Or
hell is a
Those
tractor
are essentially
pull?
industrial.
And you've got some things to learn about America.
Those are definitely industrial. Those are made for factory work environment.
Right.
But they work great for shooting too.
We jokingly call these Dome Ear Pro because the other ones are smart, and we'll tell you why in a little bit.
Yeah.
But these are just inert. All they do is deaden the sound. They don't do anything else. They don't amplify. They don't do anything, but they do a really good job of knocking the sound down to where it's not uncomfortable and it's not loud and damaging.
Yeah.
So again, now you've gone up to, maybe 10 or 15 bucks, 20 tops.
Yeah.
There's a reason we use them for classes when people don't bring their own ear pro. Like, getting 10, 20 of these, if you're going to be teaching a lot, is not going to be a huge hit on the wallet. And they're as good at noise reduction as we'd want to give students.
Yeah. They're good at noise reduction. They're durable. They're not too expensive. One of the things with those I've noticed though, if you already have hearing loss and you put those on, you can't hear anything that's going on. So very often what we see is, well, what'd you say?
Yeah.
And then there's gunfire. So you got to be a little bit aware of that. Like, hey, I'm not going to be able to hear much if I already have some hearing loss when I put those on. So be careful.
Well, that brings us into the next level of hearing protection.
Yeah.
The electronics.
Which are electronics, which we have a variety of.
And, I see a lot of people, the electronic ones, they, in fact, we've got a couple students, when we're giving instructions, you see them turn them on so they can hear us, and then they turn them off
And you don't need
when it's ready to shoot. And they don't understand that the microphones don't transmit the sound.
Right. They're meant to be on.
Yeah, the microphones transmit normal discussion, but if something happens over, I think in my personal EarPro, if it goes above 80 decibels, it shuts it down.
Right.
Some other ones are like 85 to 90, but I like mine. They're a little lower on the I guess you could say the scale.
And at the same time, they also enhance hearing for low sounds that you might not be able to hear, or the instructor that's at the other end of the range until there's a loud noise and they shut down. So people with hearing issues already actually hear better with the electronic type of muffs. So we highly recommend these if you're going to do training, if you're going to do any type of shooting on a regular basis. The electronics are worth the investment, and there's a wide variety in the area of cost for these. Like a huge,
there's a big
huge difference in cost on some of these. So
I've seen some that are in the 20 to 30 category. I would not buy them.
I wouldn't. No, I've made that mistake.
Go up a little higher.
Yeah, I bought the Temu version of them. Good. Not good. No, they're terrible.
Yeah, I think the batteries were like one use and you're done kind of thing.
What do we have? Like, what's our cheapest, least expensive one on the table?
I think
you got Walkers.
It's probably somewhere between
the Walkers and the Howard Lights.
Yeah, the Howard Lights and the Walkers.
Yeah.
So we got Walker razors. These are actually really good for the price. They're in the $50 to $60 category. These are just for an entry level pair of EarPro. It's a heck of a step. It's really good. And one of the upgrades that I would recommend on whatever EarPro you buy is the silicone gel cups.
Yeah.
They actually can increase the noise reduction rating a little bit. And it is far more comfortable for a couple reasons. One, the gel molds to you a little easier than the foam. And the gel coating is a little more flexible, whereas these will crack after maybe a season of use.
Yeah.
The other thing is when you're wearing eye protection, the gel forms around the temple of the eye protection better and seals better. You don't get that leakage of sound where you're always moving your EarPro around because you're still hearing high-pitched noise. So whatever you guys get, if you get the Walkers, they actually make an upgrade kit, and these are like maybe $20.
Yeah, they're a good upgrade. I found too, they just like if you're wearing them all day, like we are in the range when we're teaching classes, they're just don't make your ears hurt the way the foam does after a while. So
the Walkers, they come ready to go. There's a switch. You could turn them on. They power up. You can turn them on so you can hear people like 4 ranges over talking, or you can turn them down just enough so you can hear people in your immediate area, which are really good. The microphones on these are good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
It doesn't sound tinny or cheap.
Yep.
It's got good quality of sound, and the circuitry in these is pretty good.
Yeah.
The cutoff is like Ed said earlier with some of the electronics, it's milliseconds.
Yeah.
You'll hear the sound of gunfire, but it won't be as loud and damaging. So, we've got these, and then, kind of similar to these are the ones Ed's got here.
So, Howard Light Impact Sports, also great electronic EarPro. Same, you got your foam seals. I just like these because they keep my ears warm, during wintertime.
That's
and
another advantage.
Keep the wind out, can kind of mess with the microphone a little bit. But again, the difference between these and the Walker razors, you're talking apples and oranges. They're both slim, kind of designed, so you don't have Mickey Mouse ears when you're wearing these. Again, same approximate, kind of noise decibel reduction range. We're talking about
low
20s.
Yeah,
20,
25, I think, for these.
Yep. And approximate, same price range. I think these were about $60, $65, or so. But again, they fit great and can't hear anything.
What? Huh?
But if I turn up the microphone, now I can hear.
Did you hear
everything? So again, great option, guys. Whether you're a Walker fan, whether you're a Howard Light fan, either works. But if you want to step up the noise reduction, go with
the next level of Walker.
These are the Howard Light Pros.
Yep.
And the first thing you notice is they're much thicker. That's the thing. But you get much more foam, greater noise reduction there, right? They're heavier, so you're gonna notice the weight. But these work very well. The noise reduction is very good. It's very quick. And it does give you a little more protection. One of the biggest problems I've seen with these, handgun shooting, no problem. You get into rifles and shotguns, and these start interfering with the stock and your cheek weld and get knocked off or get jarred and are in the way. So they are not as good for shooting long guns for sure. But if you're someone that's really sensitive to noise, or you're working a lot on an indoor range, especially with handguns, these are actually pretty good. They're worth a little bit more money to pay for that. So these are not bad.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
What's our next level up?
Probably looking here, like probably my Peltors are next as far as like cost.
Okay.
This is probably like, I've been teaching for a long time, and this is like my third pair of these. They last for a while. I mean, I've been surprised what I've put these through, and that they've lasted, and they do hold up. And they're not that expensive. I do remember when I was paying like $45 or $50 for these.
Yeah, they've gone up a little bit.
Now they're about 90 to 100, so they're a little bit more. I do feel like the sound quality from the microphones is a little bit better than the Howard Lights. They're also quite a bit lighter than the Howard Lights. That's kind of ironic, right? But yeah, I like these. And you can see like this one, I've added my own pad to the top because that is one thing. It has a very thin head strap and it would dig in after a while. So the pad helps a lot. Also got my name so people know they belong to me. And yeah, I like these quite a bit for the cost. They're not super expensive. They've held up well, and they give good protection and good sound quality. So these are specifically the tactical 100s. They do make a couple levels higher. Of course, you're going to pay a little bit more. You get a little bit more noise reduction. The big thing is on the more expensive models, supposedly sound quality is even better, but I'm perfectly happy with these. They're fine.
I was gonna say Peltor is a good company, and
Yeah.
they make ones that are compatible with ballistic helmets, and any kind of head pro that you might also
Yep.
be
got the
wearing.
low
Got the
profile
clips.
wrap around the back one.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So
I can actually take these and mount them on a helmet. These will come off and mount on a helmet.
awesome.
Yeah, very cool. All right, next, what do we got?
Well, if we're going to stay with over the ear, we'll go to my favorite. These are an investment, the way I look at
What
it.
is our investment?
I discovered this line a long time ago, actually from this guy back here, John Holshin. He was running around with a pair of these on the range one day, and I'm like, those look really good. And he goes, they are, and here, try them. And I wore them for maybe a couple hours during a live fire event, and I was immediately online trying to find another pair of these. I could order them up. These were made with a partnership between MSA, which is Mine Safety Administration, and Sordin. And Sordin, they're overseas, but they have assembly and connections in the U.S., so they are onshore as well. But now they're just Sordin. They've split from MSA because I don't know, we talked to them at SHOT Show last year, and they just basically said that it wasn't working. So they said, we're going to go back on our own and cut the partnership away. But these I picked up for a couple of reasons. One, the noise reduction on these is about mid-20s, and it's adequate especially for outdoors. And if I go indoors, I just add some plugs. And then I just punch the sound up 1 or 2 notches, and I can still hear everything. But the loud gunfire sounds more like a drum instead of a pop. So it really deadens things down in an indoor range. But I had some Peltors that I liked a long time ago, and I had some other ones. But after teaching in the rain a couple times and killing them, because they don't like rain, I found that these are really good being water resistant. So I still wouldn't be out in a downpour, but if it's a light rain, a cloud burst, they're not going to die on me when I'm on the range. And this, for me, has been, other than like the walkers with gel cups, I could wear these all day long on a range, and I don't have a headache where it felt like my head was being squeezed all day.
Right.
I say they're worth it. For me, they're in the high $200 category. They're not cheap. But their warranty is really good. I had one pair go down on me. I couldn't figure out why new batteries went in. Nothing, just didn't work. I just called them up, sent them back. They repaired them, sent them back, no charge. Nothing. And it was like maybe a year or so. I actually own 3 pairs, and I don't know where the third one is right now. It's in a box somewhere. It's in a gun bag somewhere that's just in a corner or got put somewhere. One of these days, I'm going to hang them all on a hook when I find them, and I'm going to go through them. My second pair, they're probably my oldest set, and I can tell because the connector wiring has worn through. So it's got some issues in there. So I might try and send them back and see if they'll just replace the wiring. They might charge me a couple bucks, but again, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it to have a backup pair like this. But yeah, if I wasn't in need of wearing these things all day, I probably could definitely get away with the walkers and the gel cups or a set of
Pelters. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It wouldn't be a problem. But I figure, you know what? I've probably had this pair for 4 years. And my other pair, I can't tell you how long I've had them. I discovered them easily 10 to 12 years ago. So they last a long time. But you're going to pay for it too.
Yeah.
But it's one of those pay once, cry once.
Yep.
Like a good pair of boots, good, I've discovered, cookware and things that you spend the money on the quality stuff, it's going to last for 30 years instead of, warp in one.
Plus, your hearing doesn't come back. So once you starts going, or you start developing tinnitus, or, heaven forbid, you're an instructor and just exposed to prolonged amounts of gunfire, it starts to go. So you are getting what you pay for.
It's inevitable. You're going to have your Pro off, and someone's going to crank a round off, and then all of a sudden you're going to wonder what that ringing is.
I don't wonder anymore.
Yeah. The other upgrade I did to these is I also added the gel cups to these because they come with a foam setup, but you can upgrade to a gel cup. And the gel cup replacements for these are like $30. So every couple years, I'll just notice that, one's got a tear or one's just gotten worn, and I'll just order them up. They pop on. They give you a new liner, and then the cups, and it's like a brand new pair of muffs.
Nice.
So there you go. There's my top end.
So speaking about over the ear, we are going and moving away from kind of headbands, head accessories kind of thing, but we haven't gone fully wireless yet. So these are Axil GS Extreme, the 3.0 version. Guys, if you haven't seen Axil's advertisements, I think they advertise just about more than any other ear pro company.
They're everywhere.
You're going to find out. But I got into these because
be on my phone in 5 minutes because we're talking about them.
I kept losing my earbuds, the ones that are separate. So I'm like, I just need a wire, in order to put these on and not lose them. And I started exploring these when we started doing more long gun work with shotgun masters, rifle masters, and stuff. I'm just like, I am taking slings off, putting slings back on. I am swimming in and out of stuff. And like Matt said, I can't get a proper cheek weld.
Yep.
So I'm just like, you know what? If they go over the ears and they go then into the ears, if I can get them into said ears.
Apparently, they're very easy to install.
Perfect. There we go. So now I'm just kind of like that nerd, in gym class who's got the glasses with the wraparound, band on the back. But, these are nice. And they got all the electronic accoutrement. They are Bluetooth. They are actively noise reducing with electronics. I think these are rated for about 20 to 25 or so. And if you get a really, really nice tight seal, it might be even higher than that. And everybody loves Bluetooth, apparently.
Yeah,
so
it's the new thing.
Yeah, and Axil's got a really nice promotion, kind of schedule. It seems like every couple of months, they're doing some kind of promo for 50% off because it's President's Day, 50% off for veterans, 50% off for 4th of July. So guys, don't pay full price for these. Just wait for the next, major federal holiday to come along, and these will be going on discount. But yeah, a good step up, from the overheads, without the bulk, and easy USB charging as well.
Yeah. So going with the in-ear theme, a couple years ago, probably 2 years ago, I saw a sale from Axil on some In-Ear Pro, and I was like, you know what? Let me try it out. Let me just see what they look like. So I bought these buds, and these are like I think they're top of the line earbuds.
Are those the Xcor?
Yeah,
Whatever?
yeah, the Xcors. And you know what? They're pretty slick. You got to remember, you got to put them in with the words facing the right way too. But they also help you out. They put an R and an L on them. And the cool thing is, yep. The cool thing is, they are very compact, and you get them right in there, and they just kind of lock into the feature of your ear, right into the fold of your ear. So it's almost like you got to screw them in there. There's a little button on them. There's a touch tap on these things where you can connect, turn them on, turn them off. These things, I've tried them. They work beautifully, except for in my ear. My ear canal does not accept these. They come with, where's the kit? They come with a nice little pouch. Okay, they've got a charging cable here. They've got this. And if you can make it out, I'll try not to tip them and have them fall over. There's a whole bunch of ear attachments.
Yeah,
little adapters. You've got little small ones. You've got, there's some silicone ones and some rubber ones. And you can try whatever size works. I've tried them all. And the minute that I put them in there and I'll lock them in, after a while of just moving around, they pop out.
Yeah.
And I've talked to Axil. I actually, I called their hotline and said, hey, help me out with these. What am I doing wrong? Teach me. And they tried everything. They're like, I think those don't work for you. But I was talking for probably 45 minutes trying to figure things out. They're like, try this, put this in. They actually had me try them reversed just to see if, what changed.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. I've got them, they'll work great. They'll pair to my phone. In fact, they're paired now. I just heard them kick in. But for me, for the in-the-ear, they don't do it. They don't stay in. And that's one of the keys to the in-ear ear protection is they got to stay put. So you're not always fiddling with it when you're trying to shoot. Again, a little pricey for in-the-ears, but for what they do and what they can do and what there's, the noise reduction rating on these is pretty decent. I think it was rated 27 to 29, depending on the adapter, which is not bad for this kind of ear pro.
Yeah.
Right. But then the drawback, I keep going back to my conversations with audiologists and ENT people, ear, nose, and throat, where I've just learned that the in-the-ear ear protection just blocks the sound that goes in.
Through the ear canal, right?
Yeah. Yep. And I actually had somebody try to call BS on it with me, and I said, okay, hold on a second. And I got the over-the-ear bone conduction.
Yeah, like the Aftershocks bone conduction headphones.
The
right?
Aftershocks, there's like a whole bunch of them out there now, but when I got the Aftershocks, I proved it.
Yeah.
I put a set of these in my ear.
You put those in, right?
And then I put the Aftershocks on, and I could hear the music. It was
right. And that's how those are designed. Right, exactly. So that kind of proves you're still getting sound being transmitted through the bones. And those can be damaged.
So the interesting thing is they come with a really cool charging case. I have not charged these in probably a year. And as soon as I opened it up,
boom,
the green light was showing.
There you go.
So they hold a charge.
Yeah.
The case holds a charge really well. So I'm not knocking the quality of these things. They're just, for me, they didn't work well.
Yeah. And I've seen other types of hearing protection that goes in the ear that just, it doesn't work for certain people. And Ned, you got a couple other options or another option there?
So talking about, the main points of electronic earbuds and stuff. This is a company,
Gloryfire?
Gloryfire.
Okay.
And I like these because they do have the little foam that I, like Dave, squished together a little bit. So I kind of jam these in my ear.
I think those will touch when you push them in.
But then they have a little wing, in order to kind of stay in the ear as well.
Yep.
So these...
And that's what you want. You want it to lock into that fold right there.
Well, those are very similar to the other axles that you have. The little hook,
So these work fantastically great with Bluetooth. But I will say, I didn't seek out the company Gloryfire. I had kind of, purchased 4, 5, 6 different sets, of these, just looking at the return policy. And I'm like, I want the ones that are going to have noise reduction anywhere between, I'd say 25 and 30.
Okay.
And I want the ones that fit in my ear. So I'll just keep buying and returning and buying and returning until I find ones that fit in my ear and don't fall out. And I've been using these as my primaries for the past, year and a half or so.
So a little trial and error to find the right
ones.
Yeah. And I will say most of these companies, assuming you don't, order knockoffs from Temu and stuff like that, have a great return policy, and they understand that, hey, if they keep falling out of your ear just because, they don't fit well, then you should return them because they're not being used for their purpose.
Yeah, they're just going to get thrown away.
Right. And that takes us to, there are higher ends, of these. I think Gloryfire was in the $125 range. But I know our other instructor, Butch, swears by, his custom, kind of
Oh, yeah,
earbuds.
that's right. Where you actually have them molded to your ear canal.
Right.
In your ear, so they fit and supposedly fit you better.
Yeah, that kind of freaks me out. Like, I've seen them do it. I've been to the events where they put the little block in your ear canal just enough, and then they have that little mix. You can choose the color and the blend and everything, and then they pour it in there, and then they just let it sit, and they push it down so it goes flush, right? And then after, I don't know, a few minutes,
it's not very long.
it molds up. They pull them out, and then if you choose the electronic version, they get sent back to the factory where they drill it out, they place them in there, and they put the electronics in there. And then, in a few weeks, you get some molded ear pro. But I don't know about, pouring stuff in my ear.
If one drop just goes all the way into the ear canal. But they do work great. Butch swears by them, and he's shot as much as, anybody else that we know. But, advantage of, these little guys are they don't have the bulk, of the others. So again, if you're shooting pistol, you're shooting rifle, you're shooting shotgun, these are going to be great because, any kind of manipulation around here and such, you're not getting that much interference.
You got a headband, you got ear cups to catch on.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, you can double up on these, as well. So great options.
Yeah. So very cool.
So some options out there are there's a ton. There's a ton. So whatever works for you. Just think about this. I've had this discussion with people. I know you guys have heard this. Somebody will say, "Well, I'm just shooting a 22. It's not that loud." After the third or fourth one, it's not that loud.
Right. The first one.
The first couple, they're going to be pretty significantly loud.
Yeah.
I had a contact of mine who took his kid out, and he isn't the very smartest person in the world. And he took his kid out because, they were hunting. He was getting them ready for hunting. And he's like, well, you got to hear what a shotgun sounds like without ear pro because you won't have it on in the field. And the poor dude had a headache for like a week. Yeah. And he now has permanent hearing damage. Yeah. It's like, number one, Dad was stupid. There should have been a fix for that. But two, he, just because he's stupid, it doesn't mean he has to damage his son's hearing. Now, I've shot firearms without ear pro, and it couldn't have been helped. I've been on a range where somebody wasn't paying attention, and they touched off a 40 about 4.5 feet from me, and I didn't have my ear protection on because I didn't, I walked on the range, and when I looked at him, the gun was empty, and by the time I went over here to get my ear protection out of the bag, he decided to load his gun and just crank off a few. So he didn't give anybody any warning, and I was reaching for my ear pro, and it was right about here, and 2 or 3 rounds went off. So,
I mean, I could say, like, as a kid, as a young teenager, I shot a lot of 22 with no hearing protection.
Yep.
It just wasn't a thing, and I'm sure that's probably why I have tinnitus now from that. So it might not even be that you notice it at the time, but it's going to sneak up on you, 15, 20, 30 years later. That damage, is cumulative.
Oh, yeah.
So hearing protection is important, guys.
Especially if you're living in a particular state, one of those few that doesn't allow suppressors, on your long guns and such. New York being one of them, hearing protection is going to be more important than ever.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there is legislation on the New York State Supreme Court right now to pass a hearing protection, act that will allow suppressors in order to be used, even if just for sporting purposes, and whatnot. So,
that's going to go, unfortunately, but, because, the problem is there's a stigma to them,
yeah.
right? Who uses silencers? Assassins,
Bad guys.
criminals,
No, hunters.
special ops,
Sport shooters.
because they don't want to be heard. Well, yeah, because that's like life to them. Yeah. Guys, to give you some ideas on sound, heavy traffic, right? It's the different decibel levels. Heavy traffic exists at about 75 to 80 decibels. Okay, so that gives you like a real life comparison, like a normal conversation, kind of like what we're having here. It's about 60 to 65. Right? But then you get into, let's see, somebody using a chainsaw, about 105.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little louder. Put it this way, anything over like 85, that's your threshold.
Yeah.
And that's right when the electronics start kicking in
exactly.
in order to compress
Like I
that
said,
sound.
I know that these kick in about 80, and then these I think go to about 85. Are you going to be able to know the difference? Probably not. But just it kicks in a little sooner, kicks in a little later. Here's at 130, it becomes painful, whatever that sound is. And it's, fireworks close by, a fighter jet. Those things are up 150, 160.
A 22 probably is in that, starting
I
decibel
guarantee
range.
it's at the lower end, but it's in there.
A pistol's in the 160 to 165 category.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right? We're talking normal caliber pistol, not the 22s. They're obviously, a little less noisy. And then you get like shotguns and rifles, they get up there too.
Yeah.
So, the guys, to give you that threshold, 80 to 85, that's where you're going to want some ear protection. That's definitely where, you're going to have some, if you're in an area that has that loud noise for a prolonged time, you're going to have some hearing damage. And as Ed said earlier, this stuff doesn't grow back. It doesn't heal. It's permanent. It's nerve damage is really what it boils down to. So when you're at the range, anywhere near anybody shooting, make sure you have ear protection on. At the very least, ear protection and eye protection is obviously.
Protection too.
We travel with this stuff all the time. It's second nature to us.
Right.
But I'll see people on the range. They load up their pistol and they're about ready to shoot. They're like, "Oh!"
Wait.
And then they go there and put their ear protection on because they haven't built that routine. It's
Well, you
not a
crank
habit.
off that first round
You're like,
without
"Oh."
Air Pro.
Yeah.
You sure are gonna learn that lesson fast.
Yeah. Yep. There's kind of a joke. It's like when the dry fire trigger press produces a ringing in your ears, you screw something up.
You did it wrong.
So again, your choice as to what you want to do. Do you want to start out basic, just to get started? Okay, but also know that with the advantages of, well, these are cheap. I can buy a bunch of boxes of these for the cost of Dave's Ear Pro, right?
Buy a lifetime supply of the foam beads for the cost of the year.
You probably could.
But
Or, I can buy, 5 or 6 of these over the course of a few years and be okay. Okay, whatever works. Or do you step into something along the lines of like Matt's, Walker, his Peltor's Walkers or the Impact? And do you just say, you know what, $50, $65, $90, that's worth it for my ears. Plus, it's also worth it where I can hear what's going on around me.
And it can be used for other purposes, mowing
yeah.
the lawn, doing housework.
Chainsaw.
If you
your
have
wife.
in-laws.
what?
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 Wear them in your office so you don't hear your coworkers. But the key is spend what you want to spend on your ears because they're worth it. It's really what it boils down to. Like I said, it's permanent damage. It doesn't get better. I've seen lots of videos on how people have cured tinnitus. You know what? In the end, I haven't seen any real proof of it. And they don't do ear transplants.
No.
So you ruin it, you own it. And I can tell you, I've got 3 different tones of tinnitus from growing up in the late 70s and 80s. I liked my music and my bass. Being in the shooting world for the better part of 30-something years and being around loud noises, working with machinery, working in construction, I've done some hearing damage. And I've worn ear protection when I could, but there are times it just didn't work, didn't have it.
So, guys, be sure to comment below if you have a favorite.
We want to hear them in the comments, right?
Be sure to mention if there's any type of ear pro that you guys are wearing that we haven't mentioned, put it down there. We want to know, what other great products are kind of out there. All right?
Matt's a duty head. He couldn't hear me.
And then, Matt, what should you do before you guys close up?
Well, you should listen to what we have to say.
What?
And then you need to like, subscribe, and mash that notification button so you get to see all our episodes, everything we got coming up. Hey, everybody, just wanted to give a special shout out to our Patreon members. We're going to name everybody off today. Thank you very much for your support. We're going to start with all our free members. So they're following us, getting our notifications, watching our videos. And Dave's going to start us out with some of the names.
All right. So special thanks to the following people. You guys are great. Andy D, Dave and Linda C, Guns and Wheels,
Joe G, Austin, Linda L.
We got Bowden E, we got Skate Legged, and Ken D. Thank you.
Coming back around, we got Badass, Island Boy for Life, and Giovanni D.
Thank you to CJ, Tim V, and Bridget G.
Thank you to Lisa, Todd L, and Manish D.
All right, here another round. Jerry B, Guy M, and Julio V.
Thank you to Adam G, Jimmy D, and Justin K.
And we also want to add in Cameron R, and last but not least, Cameron K. Thank you all very much.
And a really, really special thanks out to our paid patrons. You guys help fund the show, help with equipment, all this stuff. It couldn't have been done without you guys. If you are a free member, like our content, and, want to step up that pledge a little bit, consider just being entry level for our patrons. But Dave, if you want to start rattling off our crazy kooks who love to watch our videos every week.
Oh yeah, these guys. I'm thinking that they're like they're our most prevalent commenters and participants. And they're really good followers. So we've got Andrew C, Eric S, Gary A, JF.
We have Marcia C, Todd K, Gary A, and Dave M.
And last but not least, here we have Dave P, Roy B, and Steve D. Again, thank you all very much.
So much.
We really appreciate it.
You guys make it where we can keep going with this.
Yes.
You guys will probably receive some kind of exclusive something at some point.
We definitely got to get some contact info. We'll get it out there.
And for more content, be sure to check up here.